Welcome to Different Gravy, not just another Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I'm one of the hosts, Richard Miller, and my co-host, after entirely failing to monetize nuns or guns, has dived straight into his next cockamamie idea and is launching a Wednesday version of Wordle, Wednesdurdle, where you have to guess a 5-letter Sheffield Wednesday player's name by guessing 5-letter Sheffield Wednesday players' names. He's your friend of mine, Dr. Luke Gledall. How are you doing today, Luke?
I'm good, Rich. I'm just loving this idea. I'm a big fan. I mean, people may say there's too many Wordle knockoffs, and I think no, people like them. Let's have some more.
I think so too. I agree.
So,
would you
Rich,
like to play a round of Wednesdurdle?
Oh, I was going to ask you if you wanted to play a game of my Wednesdurdle. Okay.
Somebody might have thought of a couple of names in advance and be ready to roll.
So, how many are we going to establish as part of the rules? How many letters does this Wednesday player have in their surname? Is it 5 letters?
I'm sticking with. Well, no, you asked. Sorry, you have stuck with.
Of course. How could I forget? Well, I just didn't know if you had your own version of Wednesdurdle.
I couldn't possibly. You're the ideas man here, Luke.
yeah, Rich. Okay, yeah, I'll play.
But I'm on your sort of cobbled together first try at the website, and if you wanted to, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go booth.
Ooh, I like it. So.
See, when Wednesdurdle gets me, you get a version of me going, you play a video clip, and I'm like, oh, that's a really good guess, but you're wrong. I go, I can see what you did there, but you're still wrong.
You also find out just how visual a game Wordle actually is, but we're gonna go along with it. So for the B is grey, the O is grey, the other O is grey, the T is grey, and the H is yellow.
Is it Hurst?
The H is yellow.
Still yellow.
The I is yellow. The R, S, and T are grey.
I've got a HI. Okay.
The tricky thing here is that you don't have the letters crossed off, unfortunately.
No, but if people at home want to write them out, then maybe this part will last so long that somehow it stretches and defies time physics. So then they can tweet me and let me know.
So you've got a H and an I, but not in the right place yet.
Good job. We're editing out I'm going to edit out the large gaps of silence. Oh my word. Do you want to, should we, here's an idea. Shall we carry on with the episode and then maybe I'll check back in with you?
Okay.
I mean, I know I know the rules, obviously, but I mean, just for the people at home, how many guesses would they get at Wednesdurdle, Rich?
I mean, not to criticize your work, but I think you've really borrowed heavily from the original Wordle. You've hewn to the model, so I think we're probably looking at 6 guesses. That seems to be the way that you've set up the website. What about if you do, just to kind of we could keep it as a little theme going. So we could talk about the midweek game. You can have another couple of guesses. If you don't get it then, you have a couple of guesses at the end. And then there's kind of like a 3-act play sort of element to the podcast.
Sure. Yeah, let's do it that way. I was also liking my idea where I'd just surprise you just during some of the drudgery from these 2 Wednesday games we're going to cover this week.
That too. So we just, I don't know whether we do need to explain, but this is it's one of our, I don't know whether you can tell by my sexy voice. This is a late night gravy There's pepper in it. This ain't your mama's gravy. Ooh, tell Granny to put the baster away. This is a different sauce. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm saying.
You've gone and purchased it from the 24-hour spa. You paid £4 for these granules. Dropped into the chute with careless abandon from the poor sap who's working the 24-hour till.
So we're recording late on Saturday night, which is quite a reasonable hour for yourself, Luke, isn't it? But I've been down in that London for the UFC, and I'll explain my travails in watching today's game. But let's shall we mosey along, hit our one and only drop.
Breaking hoo-hoos.
And there's no real news this week, apart from there was a midweek match, and that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Sheffield Wednesday eventually playing Accrington Stanley, and I think we can wholeheartedly agree, Luke, worth the wait.
Oh, totally, yeah. Not an anticlimactic realization that this is what we've cancelled twice. Third time was a charm if the charm was agreed that it was an insipid game of football.
I mean, we all would have been poorer if the EFL had decided to say, do you know what, guys, you've had 3 goes now. We'll just call it a draw, shall we? That would have left the whole world of football a lot poorer, wouldn't it? Because what you need to do, get these 2 teams out on a pitch and just work it all out. Work it all out.
The equivalent of we've had free throws at the the coconut shy, and then they've just really pittily given us a little mini stuffy to say, don't be too upset and get on your way.
This was pretty low energy, wasn't it? I think so. I think probably the first sort of headline is after the 6-0 win. We went ahead and made 3 changes. We worked Iorfa back into that back 3. Liam Palmer replaced Jack Hunt on the right wing-back slot. And Patson was drafted back in alongside Saido Berahino with Gregory dropping to the bench. So 3 changes. Nice to see Iorfa back, although he looks a bit off it, I think. It's fair to say. But what did you? I think we're sort of both guilty of not particularly sort of making hugely forensic notes. I've got notes that start really, really, really in earnest when Gregory came on the pitch.
Maybe just because it's just not the greatest spectacle. Maybe we'll just maybe it's just best to just do the kind of summary of maybe I think the couple of goals and then just talk about play, our findings, what we thought happened. Just a loose kind of analysis. I think, it's not our main focus and it thankfully doesn't need to be our main focus. And, well, maybe, I don't know, is that a good thing compared to looking at this weekend's game, or is that a bad thing?
In a way, there's lots of parallels with the 2 games, aren't there? So and there's some sense in kind of talking about them side by side in some way.
One thing that kind of frustrated me was like looking at the lineup again. We're seemingly going into this realm of we never particularly know whether players do have injury knocks, whether players are tired, but I feel like I'm pretty confident in saying that like Darren Moore is going to tinker with things, and I really, really wish he wouldn't. I'd rather just he goes with the fittest options and then sees who kind of falls off and see who gets injured. It was sad to see. Apparently Gibson had a knock, so it was a shame to not see Gibson in the starting lineup. Keep his place.
Yeah, because
from there,
I think he's much the better of the 2 loanees. I think back. Well, I suppose we've got 3 loanees, but one of them's not one of them's injured
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
shape of Harley Dean. But it's I think, well, we can talk about story. I think there's some issues with story, I think, and this game kind of brought them to the fore a little bit. He started on the left-hand side of that three. I think we quite quickly decided we didn't really like that way of working. It just didn't feel comfortable. So Hutchinson ended up being the left-hand side of the three, with Iorfa in the middle and Story on the right. And that's where he's mainly played Story as the right side of that centre-back three. So,
I mean, also though, with the tinkering, like possibly one of the greatest frustrations is that with more kind of convincing centre back options coming back is that there's no country for Liam Palmer. There's no place for him, and I don't know. As much as I like Liam Palmer, I don't know if I kind of want to see him in wing back position. I'm not really fully sold.
Yeah, I think he's different enough there from Hunt that we've become quite reliant on Hunt playing that right wing back position in a certain way, or Mendes-Lang playing it in an even more attacking way. And I think Palmer plays it more defensively, and we suffer for it. Going forward, I think we don't look as adventurous or interesting when Palmer's playing out there. Unfortunately, because I do rate him very highly as a player, but I think maybe in this setup, for the balance, he probably needs to be one of the centre backs rather than the wing back. But yeah, interesting. So I think the thing looking back, so the game, we did start off. We had some decent chances in that first half. Bannon had a chance that went narrowly wide, and Berahino had a chance where he just sort of hit it straight at the keeper when really if he'd gone anywhere else, it probably would have gone in. But it all fizzled out pretty quickly, and then it just looked like we just had nothing about us, really. The reason I'm saying so these two games feel a little bit kind of hand in hand is masses of possession for Wednesday, but without a huge amount of cutting edge or threat to the play.
No.
We seem very content to play nice passing around the back, and we pass it halfway up one flank, and then we get turned round and we pass it back again and pass it all the way to the other flank, or maybe back to Bailey Peacock-Farrell. And I'm all for holding on to possession and being measured in the way we play, but there needs to be a bit more cut and thrust to it. So, yeah, tricky. Palmer went off at half time in this game and appears to have picked up a knock, which is not particularly helpful. He's apparently a week or two away now. Same with Gibson in picking up that knock.
Even though today he was there and was present on the bench today.
Well, yeah, apparently what he said afterwards is still a week or two away.
Okay, so maybe they thought he wasn't like someone deputised as an option, but maybe not. I don't know. I'm kind of still a bit baffled by some of the lineups and some of the personnel we kind of roll out in certain places.
Just to confirm, Palmer wasn't on the bench today.
Palmer wasn't on the bench today. Okay. Oh well.
It was interesting. Iorfa, Harley Dean, Joe Wald-Smith, Mendes-Lang, Berahino, Canberry, and so.
Interesting. I just thought it just didn't kind of maybe work, and maybe there was something that happened in that regards. I'd much rather see Jack Hunt in that position. I mean, the frustration becomes, and I don't know, maybe that's something to lead us and segue into the goal, is that Jack Hunt still has a goal hex over him. He cannot score. Bless him.
I know, incredible. I mean, he is getting in good positions and getting good chances. So the game, we swapped out Berahino for, as we touched on earlier, Hunt came on at halftime for Palmer, and that did help a bit. And then Gregory came on for Berahino at the hour mark, pretty much. Hutch, what did you make of the Hutch yellow card that happened just before the goal? I thought it was a bit of a wild lunge you didn't need to make, but I think a few people said maybe it was a bit hard. It was a bit harsh on him.
I honestly can't recall. There is another thing from this game I do want to highlight. So we mentioned last week that That Patterson was missing out, and Patterson was missing out with the view that basically, if he's getting a 10th yellow card on before the 37th game of the season, I think it is.
Yeah.
So that's interesting because now, I mean, as of today, we have played. How many games have we played now? Let me just.
38 game today.
We've played 38 games. So midweek was a 37th game. Not a 37th game in order, per se, because it was a rescheduled game. It was technically. It's always funny when you look at a flash score at the fixtures and it's like round 16, round 24. To see like, it's like, oh yeah, there's been plenty of football which has been missed and postponed. Hilariously, I did see in League Two that I think Mansfield Stevenage was called off for COVID today.
Oh, really?
So, still postponing games thanks to COVID. So there we go.
We're having a real fun spike of it, Luke. Apparently 1 in 18 people in London. I really feel great being in London. 1 in 18 people in London have COVID, apparently.
In fact, Rich, you do look quite sweaty on that,
yes,
let's say.
Yes.
Are you feeling okay?
I can't taste anything or smell anything, but I think I'm cool. I think I'm good otherwise.
I think that's just being in London, I think.
Yeah. It's the smog. It just clogs up.
The tasteless.
Clogs up your olfactory bits and pieces.
Olfactory?
Oh my goodness. Am I back?
So my days. So looking at that, I don't know why they played Patterson. Because he
no, it's a strange one, isn't it?
Could have got a yellow and then missed 2 games. So why are we doing that? And then we did see Gregory come on.
Yeah.
And I thought if that wasn't the case, then maybe I don't know, maybe Canberry, maybe we would go with that. It was similar to what happened at Cambridge. So why did we go with Patterson? And I mean, in a weird way, I didn't think Patterson was particularly convincing midweek.
No.
And yet, hilariously, he's the one who bagged the goal.
He did bag. It's sort of a mixed up, muddled up thing where has Patterson sort of become Canberry? Canberry for most of the season has been like the guy that doesn't really work and doesn't really fit, but does get a goal, reliably get you goals. And Patterson's been like
define reliably. Is this reliably in a Sheffield Wednesday term, a team that largely doesn't score goals?
Yeah. He's turned up every now and then he's pitched in. Whereas Patterson's like all things to all men, but couldn't look like a goal was never going to come. And now he's sort of useless, but scoring goals. Like I've never felt we're getting less value out of Patterson than we are at this point in time. He's never where he needs to be. He seems to constantly be behind play. He's always rolling around. But he has, prior to today's game, he'd scored like 4 in his last 5 or something crazy like that.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like I think there's a brilliance and a beauty of, we talk about his kind of beautiful, classless, brute force that he has, and that he has as a player. But I don't know. It just also feels like
That's a good one.
Please carry on.
No, please.
No, please you.
No, after you.
It's a lot of what brand of football are we seeing from him before we get to seeing a goal from him. It's strange. He's a strange player. Like I'm okay to, I don't know. But I think that the triumph of Sheffield Wednesday in recent times has been, it hasn't mattered so much that we haven't got the forward 2 puzzle sorted out because we've been so strong in the middle of the park.
So can we come back to I'm going to make a note at the end of the weekend's game to talk about the midfield. Anyway, I think that for me, the problem with Patterson has been, and he's always had this, but as a forward, I think he makes life difficult for his teammates. He makes life difficult for the opposition as well. He works hard. He chases down lost causes, but he's never reliably anywhere consistently. He's all over he's a flibbity gibbet is what he is, Luke.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think that's where you see with Gregory, he does work hard. Gregory, it's they're both working hard in different ways, but to be a focal point for the team, you need to reliably be in one spot for them. They need to know I'm being pressed on the ball. If I kick the ball here, it's going to be within a stone's throw of my target man. And with Patterson, he might be all the way back in the left wing back position, or he might be in goal, or he might be shaking hands with a fan, or, chatting up the fourth official. Like, you just never, ever know where he's going to be. And that makes him very, very difficult to play around as a teammate. It makes him and Gregory a terrible combination.
Yeah.
Because Gregory is trying to build things and flick things on. He flicks it on for a guy that's 10 feet back further in the field from him.
Which is also going back to that thing of like, why is this a partnership we're persevering with? I don't know. I feel like I've said, oh, maybe I want to see that, Yeah. But, sometimes I think of saying that out of desperation.
But it was hard to shake. I mean, we've talked. I mean, everybody talks. It's a cliche for a reason. We talk about the Lord Mayor's show, and this was, well, we've had the Lord Mayor's week once we get to it, but this was heavy weighted with the feeling of after the Lord Mayor's show. It just felt like the bodies were tired. The legs weren't willing. Just a trudge of a game from Wednesday. Nothing quite looking quite as fluid as it had.
Nope.
I don't know. There was little glimmers of things, but little touches letting us down, little passes not coming off. Obviously, this is stiffer opposition than we were facing. Teams rightly should not play against us like. Oh dear, forgotten who we absolutely mullered. Cambridge United. Absolutely, you don't give our midfield respect. You pack the midfield. You make it hard for us. You used Darren Moore once again talked about the low block. This is something that just seems to be coming into the vernacular now, but essentially it means all out defending, doesn't it? That's what we used to call it, bumps the wall or part of the bus. We now call it a low block. That's how we struggle when you go on then, have the ball. We're going to sit here.
But again, if we know enough to define that it's called a low block, do we know enough within football coaching to define how to beat the low block?
Not as far as I can tell. There should, presumably, everything should have like a move against it, shouldn't it? There should be move and counter move for everything. As we've talked about, sort of chess comparisons.
You know who I miss up front, Rich?
Who do you miss up front, Luke?
I think it's the Wednesdayite solution. Knew you?
Oh, green.
Yeah, there we go. And that's Wednesdayite.
That's Wednesdayite. You got it in 3. You've got a streak of 1.
Excellent. I'm just because that came over me. No, and then so it's weird, but then weird thing that like looking at this as a game, like it's that weird thing of like we've kind of done enough to we've kind of really done enough to win this game of football.
Well, so that's where I think. So my notes really kick off in earnest around the goal mark. I think that's where there's probably the most discussion. It's a pretty nothingy game until that happens. It's a game where we are a bit better than them, but not that much better. They looked okay on the break. We had half chances by and large, but yeah. Well, first off, there was the highlight of Harry Pell going to sort of smash Bannon in tackling the ball away from him and belting the ball off his teammate's face, which resulted in a drop ball. And we had a classic bit of commentary from Rob that said, he hit that proper hard, which made me laugh quite a lot. It still makes me laugh now, which is good. It might just have been funny in the context of such a woeful game of football, but I think it stands on its own 2 feet. But yeah, we did grab that go ahead goal, as an American person might say. 66th minute, Johnson to Hunt. Hunt dropped the shoulder and kind of like he was in the box, dropped the shoulder and sent his defender away, sent the keeper away, and just sort of like kind of poked the ball towards the goal. It wasn't a very convincing shot. Like Jack Hunt wanted to believe he could score, but you knew in his heart of hearts he didn't believe he could score. So he went through the motions, but you could tell his little inner Jack Hunt was going, "This is not you. You're not this guy." Which meant it was a pretty easy one to clear off the line, but it was cleared straight up in the air. Hunt really battled well for the ball that came down. And it ended up with Patterson in a kind of unconventional cross, and Patterson lashed it home.
Yeah,
I
thought there was a lot to like. I really appreciate the tenacity from Jack Hunt to keep the ball alive and keep the chance kind of resurrected. And in that, I thought he did so well to get it across and have the vision to put it on for Patterson to come to run onto that. And I thought there was a real skill to Patterson's finish, I must say.
Yeah.
Like it's a nice kind of connected right foot kind of half volley, which he gets his body over and, kind of skims across the, it's a bit of a daisy cutter from a very, very short, short distance. Or also, since I played 27 holes of disc golf today, we would call that a worm burner.
Oh.
One that literally skims the ground. But yes, it was a good finish. And, but then, like, that's the weird thing. Like, it felt like maybe this is enough. Maybe this is Wednesday doing enough to get 3 points from this game.
This is the sort of game, if you're going to get promoted, this is the sort of game you win. You didn't look good, you didn't play well, but you did just enough, you got the goal. Yeah, exactly. I always thought a worm burner was when you dropped a cigarette in your crotch. We had a couple of more chances after that. Patterson had the ball in the back of the net, which unfortunately Johnson was offside. I think probably everybody, including Johnson and Patterson and the defenders, knew he was offside. But it showed we didn't stop playing straight away. Also, Hunt had another chance. He made a great run through the middle and Bannon picked him out beautifully, but he got, that little voice in his head, that little Jack Hunt in his head. We're used to talking about Jack Horner sat in the corner, but the Jack Hunt in the corner of Jack Hunt's mind is he's a vicious man and he doesn't want him to succeed in his life. Deli Bashiru came on for Bannon. This is probably the kind of going to say it again, Luke, the sliding doors moment maybe of the game.
Sure. We talk about these moments. We talk about Gwyneth Paltrow. We talk about John Hannah in a film. We confidently talk about this in the sliding doors moment in a film that we haven't seen.
Neither of us have seen.
And frankly, I've got other rom-coms to watch before I get to sliding doors.
Yeah.
I've never seen A Pretty Woman. That's it. That's just a confession. I've never seen The Attractive Woman. I'm just purely sexless. I recognise I should be heterosexual now.
You've seen the entire female version of this species called human, and you're unimpressed.
This is bad enough. This is like it's a podcast done by two single men who watch obsessed and watch a lot of football. Did they hate women by chance?
Turns out after 3 years, yeah, they do. Yeah, it took a while. It took a while to scratch away at that surface, but they were doing late night gravy, and it all came out. It all came spilling out.
There's a big incel shoot coming out of the gravy bottle. Oh, jeez. No, but yeah, and that's an interesting point to talk about the sliding doors moment, because I thought that what happened for the equalizer, I didn't watch this in depth, but I did see somebody on House Talk, and I apologize if I've forgotten who you are, but you are a person and you are important in this world, and you are loved and you are appreciated for your hot takes on a Sheffield Wednesday forum. But they were saying this person who I'm focusing on, has said that FDB was the person who lost his man for the header in the corner.
I'm pretty sure it was Story.
Really?
Pretty sure.
Are you sure, Rich, that, like, I mean, we seem to have established that, we both hate women on this podcast. Are you also adding, because I know that do you hate Jordan's Story as much as you hate Rich? Rich really doesn't like Jordan's Story, everybody.
I do like him. But I do think he looks really good as a defender until he has to actually defend. He's really good at all the other stuff. And then he's not good when it's in he doesn't like it up him, I think, is the thing.
Doesn't like it up him.
Like most of them blooming women,
No, they do, Rich. It's just not from any of us.
Why wasn't there an episode?
Too snotty, chubby, loser incels like ourselves.
Why wasn't there an episode of Different Gravy this week? We just had to delete it because there's too much. There's too much of the. No, so I'm watching it now. Sorry, I've gone back to watch it because I knew I was right, and I like to be proven right. But Jordan's Story is Jordan's Story is stood holding number 5, who is the goal scorer.
Lou Bega,
and number 5 sort of palms him off, and Jordan's Story never catches him again. He does a bad job of marking him. It's definitely Story's man, definitely not Deli Bashiru's man. Whoever said it was Deli Bashiru was wrong. They're wrong. So, Owls Talk contributor, we like you and love you, but do know in your deepest, darkest little heart, you're wrong. You're wrong.
You've added to Rich's list of
you were wrong again.
Which includes women, Jordan's Story, and that guy from Owls Talk.
That guy from Owls Talk. You've always been wrong. You're wrong. Came into this world. No, I thought you were going to say I liked Darren Moore's quote, which was, "We conceded from a corner. I don't think Barry Bannon was going to do much to stop that," which is probably fair enough.
Is that fair enough because he's on the bench?
Yeah.
Oh, Darren.
But he's with the best will in the world, Bannon is 4'0". He's not winning any headers. Accrington and Stanley are a massive team. Oh, enormous. All those midfield boys were big. Harry Pell's massive. Number 8 was massive. Number 6 was massive. They were just huge people. What are they feeding them in Accrington? They're having their milk, aren't they?
Oh, but it's a header in, and also it's some real catastrophic suicidal hot potato from Bailey. From Bailey. So I
Bailey.
Did not expect the potato to come in to be so hot.
And normally, when the potato is that hot, I'll leave it to the help. I'll say, "This potato touch too hot for me. Can you sort it out?" We've probably got tongs or something downstairs. And yeah,
do I not have a cooling rack from Harrods at all down there?
Yeah, it's a scrappy. It's another scrappy. If you like scrappy League One goals, you're going to love.
It is comical, the kind of slice. You would have thought this would be in the Papa John's Trophy, because Marvin Johnson does give it a slice of the action.
Slice of the action.
To the back of the net.
Yeah, so Jordan's Story, not Fazeo Delibashiru. Jordan's Story loses his man, and he heads towards the goal, kind of the middle of the goal, from quite a long way out. I think probably Bailey would have had a reasonable sight of it. I'm not, there's players between him and where the ball is struck, but the ball kind of lofts to him. He should have reasonable sight of it. And he goes to palm it wide and palms it directly into the face of Marvin Johnson, who is studiously marking at near post. God love him. I'm just doing my job, man. Did you know Marvin Johnson speaks something akin to Bill Clinton in his prime? I did not intend to have an own goal with that ball. So
I think he hit the ball, but he didn't inhale. I think that's what happened.
Hey.
It was the in header from way out, wasn't it? It was all
beautiful.
So it's a shame because I thought, I mean, maybe in the great spectrum of Wednesday League One games from the season, has it? I think maybe it's been enough that we did. Maybe it might have been enough to get 3 points, and then somehow those rapscallions from Accrington gone and
on Wham bars, no doubt.
And what? Sorry, they're up on Wham bars.
They're sponsored by Wham, but it's not the same. It's not Wham bars. It's a different Wham.
The 80s band featuring Andrew Ridgeley and deceased George Michael.
Yeah,
it was actually in George Michael's will. Can we get the band back together purely to sponsor Accrington Stanley?
They got that jitterbug into their brain, and that's why they're all so good at heading. The jitterbug is a parasite that makes you take more risks in the air.
And it also makes all their players another, half a foot higher.
Another foot and a half.
Yeah.
I mean, this is... If sliding doors isn't the kind of subtitle of this podcast, hindsight 2020 might be. Why not let the team that won 6-0 play again?
Yeah.
If ever there's a call for let the good feelings roll, we're back at home.
Let the good times roll.
Let the good times roll.
Well, the hilarity of this was like prior to this day, Richard Miller sent me a text, which was from some oikish little stats Twitter account called Playmaker that said the most league goals at home in the top 4 tiers, that Sheffield Wednesday were tied with Fulham on 21 goals. And later on, I had a picture of Brill Cream biscuits, Nesquik.
Yes.
Brill Cream Nesquik, Georgie Byers, under the caption of Goalsborough.
Goalsborough, exactly.
There's goals in them there boroughs.
Them there hills.
Them there hills boroughs.
Boroughs.
Full of goals.
Yeah.
Maybe this is why, it's just difficult for, Mr. Chansiri to sell on and redevelop the training ground, because it's just full of goals.
Goals.
Just so many goals.
Take a fork, stick it in over there. Look, goals. That's goals bursting out of the ground.
So you know how different gravy. You strike different gravy, and it's full of just a liquid comes out, which is spurting out, which is hatred for women.
Liquid misogyny.
Liquid misogyny. Well, it's basically the same thing at the training ground, Middlewood Road, but it's goals.
I think you've got to make the episode title "Liquid Misogyny." Yeah. What's that pile of mud over there? Is that a molehill? No, it's a goal hill. So now, should we really? I mean, we've nibbled around the edges. Shall we dive into Gillingham versus Sheffield Wednesday?
Let's do it. Who
you want to do another? Do you want to set up another round of Wednesdaydle before we do it?
You have another Wednesdaydle for me?
Do you want another Wednesdaydle?
I'd love another Wednesdaydle.
Okay. Let me see which one I fancy to tease you with today. Okay. I've locked one in.
Okay, I'm gonna go spur. Spurr.
Ooh, it's a beautiful guess. Um, so you're getting grey for your S. You're getting yellow for your P.
Okay.
You're also getting yellow for your U, and then grey for your R's.
So it's not famed Sheffield Wednesday player John Puree.
No, no, no dice on that one. Doesn't count as a guess because I don't believe that John Puree played.
You don't know John Puree?
Sorry.
I think you're just too busy hating women and Jordan Story to remember the great times with John Puree.
Another guess, or are you going to save?
Let's save. Let's let it ruminate. Let's
Okay.
let's slosh around the gravy wine.
Sip it.
Sip it.
Sip it through your teeth.
Do that.
Get some air in whilst you're sipping that gravy wine.
Kind of gargle it and spit it in the face of the poor waitstaff that have given me it.
So this was a bit of a there's a bit of a tale to tell in terms of my watching of this game. So I'm in that there London. So the first half, we went to. Oh, this is just a bit of slice of life, Luke. Just to drop in there. We visited the Amazon shop.
Oh, the one where you just take stuff and then it's like...
Yeah, you just go into like a little M&S type place and walk out.
Did you... I'm planning on maybe doing that later in the... I think me and you should do that. That might be something that we do on our...
I might try it in a shop that's not an Amazon shop because it's just so liberating. But yeah, so you kind of scan your... It's very cool. I mean, it's obviously awful for workers, isn't it? But I can imagine if my office was like just above it, makes lunchtime really nice and quick and easy. Plus, you get to feel like you kind of feel like you've stolen something, which does give you a little thrill. Anyway, we went to we potted around the Amazon shop briefly, and then found somewhere in the midst of Canary Wharf to watch the first half, and then the plan was to head to the O2 and watch the second half there.
Fucking humble brag.
I know. But I mean, if it makes you feel any better, that means I watched that awful first half of football in quite a breezy bit of Docklands, London, feeling quite cold and sorry for myself. So, it's one of those, I think the Instagram post looks good, but the sad reality behind it is something else. Did anything of note happen in the first half?
I've got a few notes. Can I just talk about, Luke loves lineups. Let's do
the lineup. Luke loves lineups. Sorry. I'm jumping.
Dunkley over Iorfa. Bizarre.
Yeah.
So that was something interesting, which I didn't get to see because it was ruddy geo-blocked. But I think TalkSport have got an app, and it's some app for something, but I can't find out what it is because it's geo-locked. But they seemingly have some level of content, including an interview, which I don't know if you saw, which was them doing a little bit of interviewing with Patterson and Bannon.
No.
And there was some chap from the TalkSports.
Okay.
Chatting to them, asking them like, "Oh, who's got the WhatsApps?" And it was like saying like, and all that type of stuff. And like one of the questions is basically like,
"Who's got the WhatsApps?"
Who's got the WhatsApps? Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. Yeah.
Wow.
Have you got the Facebooks? It's just all about the apps on the phones.
Are you more of a talker or a ticker? What I'm saying?
Yeah. But it was talking about like who's your WhatsApp, all that stuff, and they were saying like, "Oh, is anybody like a real teacher's pet to the manager?"
Right.
And he was saying like, "Oh, Dennis Adeniran is often, I think they mentioned Dennis sometimes goes and has his lunch in the manager's office with him." But they also mentioned one of the people they mentioned was Dunkley. Okay. And I was like, interesting. So, like, I imagine Shea Dunkley, he's someone who speaks well. He's someone who seemingly has a great attitude. Is he someone who's talking himself into a game before he should be talking himself into a game?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's possibly a theory, but I'm like, why? So you mentioned Mr. Dominic Iorfa coming back, looking a little bit rusty around his ring piece.
Mm.
Because as we said, we just hate women, and we just fetishize Sheffield Wednesday players. Apart from Jordan
love talking about bumholes.
So, but then it's like, well, how do you? Again, it's that whole thing. When are they ready? When are they lacking match fitness?
He looked rough that first half, didn't he? He looked.
Yeah, but I thought with this, I was just wondering as to whether, we're hopefully going ahead with. There have been players who've come back from injuries and then gone straight into the lineup. There's sometimes a bit of roughness, a bit of rustiness. But I'm like, really? Are we doing that with Dunkley? I'm like, I don't know. I don't like it when we do that with Dunkley.
No.
I mentioned, my notice is Gibson cropped again. Because I think Gibson said they said he had a knock midweek, which is why he wasn't involved at all, which I think we mentioned earlier on.
But unfortunately, aren't we just here again, where, as we sort of flagged up ahead of time, one of the best possible things that could have happened to Darren Moore is an injury crisis, because he cannot then shoot himself in the foot just as easily.
Tinker.
When he's got choices, he makes choices. And it's like if you've got to pick the 11 best players from 13, the chances of success are much, much higher than picking 11 from 23, especially when you constantly change them.
I've just imagined Darren Moore as an overproductive elf in the Christmas workshop. Maybe, just giving some kids wooden train a bash too far. Possibly,
Darren, I've told you, do not go off script. Do not. Just stick to the plan. If you're on this production line, it's trucks. If you're on this production line, it's trains. Don't go putting a train face on a truck. No kid wants that. Anyway, yeah. I don't. It's just a bit. It's such a strange, sad position to be in, where you're like going, when you get, Darren Moore's saying after the game, the injury room's clearing and we're going to have Josh Windass. It was like, in a way, I don't know that I want to hear that. You did better when all you had to play up front was Canberry and So. That was better than all of your options, because you just can't stick to any of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
I said Dean back on the bench.
Yeah.
And also later on in this, I've got another few sentences in between, but just to bring it all together, to bring that tie back, big capitals, Mendes Lang is back on the bench.
Mendes Lang.
No, he's back. Who thought he would be back? I didn't think he would be back.
No.
I thought he was dead. My other notes, I'm glad to see Hunt back after the tinkering midweek. And again, maybe a little bit of foreshadowing. I hope Pato and Gregory works.
Yeah.
So this was actually, so you've mentioned, I've brought in talking about the lineup, but you also said to me, Luke, what happened in that first half? And I'm like, there's a fair few. I have a fair few notes.
Okay.
We had a frantic start, including Wednesday nearly absolutely bricking their pants, and Vidan Oliver hitting one loosely at the keeper. Bannon then also went the other end and did a lovely one too, before he hit a very strange kind of shot, which was over.
Yeah. Bannon seemed to be the result today was not the fault of Bannon, I think, because I really feel like Bannon was everywhere trying to do everything. He was trying to be all things to all men. He was popping up all over the pitch, trying to sort of force stuff to happen. And he had an effort or two himself, which is his new way of things.
Sure.
a new kink to his game, as it were.
What else can I tell you? So we had a corner at the second minute following a free kick routine that was knocked over. 7th minute, I've noticed 3 corners in a row. We're looking soft as anything defending corners. Thankfully, nothing
Yeah,
comes from anything there. So they were 3 corners from a defensive perspective.
yeah.
I quite liked, there were some moments I liked Hutchinson looking good to kept switching the ball long. He was playing that kind of QBCB. That was nice. I felt he kind of
Yeah.
picked up things and looked to kind of grasp and get forward. 13th minute, I panicked because Dunkley got a yellow for fouling just outside the box. Not the best from Shea. Luckily, Ollie Lee for Gills artfully spoons it over. And then, just to add to the sheer comedy and the sheer terribleness, Peacock Farrell did the worst goal kick I have seen from him. It was real. It was real Joe Wildsmith territory. He just
Yeah.
absolutely shanked a goal kick out of play.
He had some strange moments in this game.
Yeah, still probably one of the better performers, I would say. But yeah, there's some moments of. I think, interestingly, from the news from the week, one thing we didn't cover, it's just very mild and it's not typically Wednesday related, but you saw that Kieran Westwood is signed a contract with QPR for the
Yeah.
rest of the season.
Yeah.
They've had a insane goalkeeping injury crisis, in which I think they have 4 goalkeepers who are injured in
Right.
various stages of injuries. So that's basically led to, uh,
Joining
yeah,
joining Moses Odubajo, who he had a bit of a fractious relationship with.
maybe you can high five some people with Moses down at
Yeah.
whatever stadium it is again in QPR.
But do you remember 2 or 3 times they had like miscommunications that resulted in Westwood got sent off for
Mm,
one of them, Odubajo gave away a penalty with another.
yeah, that could be fun. It
That
could
could
add
be.
some more delicious, delirious fun in the championship top 6, which um,
But that's really exciting for QPR's under 23, so they're going to get to change. Yeah, Westwood
well, I think the
24.
hilarity is he comes in because he needs to play. They need someone to play, and then they're like, "I wonder if he's going to pull out of any games in the football." It's going to be interesting to watch. I must say, I'm gonna sound like a really holy, bitter person here. The championship is shit this season. It's
Yeah,
fucking terrible. It's an
yeah.
awful league. Basically, it's Fulham absolutely pissing the league
Wins.
and
Yeah.
banging in goals left, right, and centre. Bournemouth maybe getting up to a degree of competency,
Do you know they've nearly
after
scored
a
as many
while.
goals as Sheffield Wednesday at Craven Cottage.
I believe so. I believe that's the case. And you've got a top 6, which is currently Luton, Huddersfield, the Pigs, and Blackburn. Blackburn, who started off like a house on fire, and
Yeah.
then their stock has gone terrible. I don't understand what's happened with Huddersfield. Even Tom Lees is scoring goals and keeping clean sheets. So imagine that.
He went
L-
on a little run, didn't he, of scoring goals? Crazy.
did you see the Twitter thing, which was some journalist saying to Tom Lees, going, "Well, Tom, 6 clean sheets out of 4 games is quite some feat." And he's like, "Yeah, it is, isn't it? 6 out of 4." 'Cause he just takes the piss out of this lady for
Oh,
for
really?
her mistake.
Oh.
Um, but also, it's just really weird
Maybe we
seeing
should have him
Tom.
on the podcast.
It's just weird seeing Tom Lee speak. I don't remember hearing Tom Lee speak. He's got a
No.
real, he's got a real northern throat that's coated with lots of Yorkshire tea.
I wondered where he was going, but then he laughed it.
So the championship is fucking rubbish anyway. So
Yeah.
wonder what Kieran Westwood is gonna do there. But like some people were saying, like, oh, I'd much rather have Kieran Westwood back than Bailey Peacock Farrell. Like, I think a lot of Wednesday fans, in their due deference and respect and the fun times and the great times we've had with Kieran Westwood, have pretty much done a big eternal sunshine of a spotless mind
Yeah.
blotting of the last 2 seasons that we've had of Kieran
Yeah.
Westwood.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, best of luck to him. Let's see how that goes for him. But I mean, to kind of give that link, there are a few moments with Peacock Farrell where he's not 100%.
Yeah.
commanding. I don't know if it's a confidence issue or whether it's just genuinely where he is in his skill set.
Well,
But it feels like we're getting a lot more of that now. I feel like we get some decent shot stopping from him. You know,
I think he's a good shot stopper. I think he's good with his feet. I think some of his decision making is not great, and I think he doesn't always catch the ball when he should. But I don't know. I think by and large he's been a very good keeper for us.
I would agree, and I mean largely again so much better than the other options we have, and I think that's something that we have to keep in mind. A weird game for Peacock Farrell today. Another note I want to say is kudos to the Wednesday fans who went there and followed as usual. I would have loved to have been there because Rich, I love a temporary stand.
Do you?
I do. My old work colleague Paul was mentioning him and his son were out there, and they were saying he said it looks safe, and then in brackets afterwards for bouncing, which the Wednesday fans certainly did pull out a bit of the bouncy.
Nice.
In this game as well. So that was nice to see. Maybe that's some of the nicer moments from that. But that was just a note in my first half.
Yeah.
Going back to looking at the game, some of the balls here are very frantic and rushed. I get Gillingham playing at a pace, but it's all a bit haphazard from Wednesday. We were also giving away a bunch of silly free kicks in that first half.
I think we were in such a rush to try and get people forward. I think then we were left with no option but to make all those silly professional fouls to stop them breaking. It's just a ragged sort of game,
and that was funny because I think that was the first half, and then I think the second half was largely taken over by whatever protection spell or whatever bribe that the Gillingham team had with the referee, because the referee was shit today. It was really poor. And absolutely just played into exactly what they wanted to do, just completely, and didn't have any awareness of what he was doing that was anything outside of that.
I think, unfortunately, it's sort of true maybe across the board, but particularly it seems to be the lower down the pyramid you get. I think teams that want to break things up and slow things down get rewarded by referees. I think referees seem to want to get involved in things that they do nothing to make the game flow better if a team is trying to stall it. But it was such an odd mixture of when the ball was out of play, we seemed to be in such a rush to kind of we've got to get a tempo to the game, we've got to take the free kicks really quickly, we've got to do that. And then when we had the ball, we just passed it around aimlessly.
And then we lose our momentum when we have the ball and we're doing stuff. Yeah. 25th minute, I'm staggered we didn't concede. Dunkley and Story look like strangers and the most suicidal pairing of defenders.
Yes.
They managed to crack one, which Peacock Farrell does well to handle, and they kind of get to Peacock Farrell's parry. They can't get to Peacock Farrell's parry. No. Why did we bring Dunkley into this one?
I don't. The amount of times he ended up competing with our players for headers. I know Darren Moore said he won everything in the air, but he won things that he shouldn't have won. You don't need to kill Massimo Luongo to win a header. He was going to win it. It's a free header. You don't need to throw your enormous frame over the top of that tiny, fragile Australian-Italian man.
Interesting that. So you mentioned about throws as well. One thing I'll jump ahead. I think this is still latter end of the first half. Ryan Jackson for Gillingham is quite the throwsman. Remember when we did long throws, Rich?
Yeah, I was up for one or few.
Do you remember we did it a couple of times and thought that was really good, and then it's just oh no, people will predict that. People will know. People have seen the time that we did a long throw in, and will be so predictable. So we'll never do it again.
Best to play statues and hide away from the man on the ball and make the throw-in take a sort of find you over the top of somebody else. That's the way. That's the way with throw-ins.
Best get Bannon to run in, gesture to the ball, and then see with his class, see if he can do something with it beyond beyond the really bad throw given to him. Speaking of Bannon, 29th minute, Bannon wins a corner and floats off the back stick, and Story heads just wide under pressure.
Yeah.
That wasn't too bad.
Story playing the Dunkley role there. I was surprised Dunkley didn't reprise his his sort of murdering folks at the back stick routine.
Just leapfrogging. Just non-consensual game of leapfrog, basically.
Yeah.
Got some little BT comments. BT marks. 32nd minute, we had a really promising counter-attack, but I think it was a stray ball from Patterson. Really wasn't very good. It was kind of rushed, and I don't know what he did, but it was just bad. There were so many bad balls in the final third that just didn't get anything going today. Speaking of Patterson, 35th minute, he went down from a push. No free kick. Of course, he doesn't win a free kick. He's clutching his left ankle, but looks he's fine. And then the 40th minute, there's a very cynical pull on Gregory. No yellow at all.
Yeah, I know. I thought that was... I was a bit mixed on it because I thought it's sort of in our half, so it wasn't exactly goal-scoring opportunity territory, but it was completely cynical, and it was the sort of thing we'd have picked up yellow cards for, so it should... if nothing else, referees should do the same things in the same situation, surely.
And at this point, it's a rather, I said from a Wednesday perspective, we look riled easily again. I'm saying this, we need to be better characters, but I realise at this stage in the season, with these players that we've picked on a budget, on a shoestring in the third tier of English football, that's probably going to be a real stretch to say that these players need to handle things better, but it just didn't look like it was out of it. And I was basically so kind of forlorn that the game sunk into, as I've put it, Luke looking at billboards territory.
Oh yeah, there was some good billboard action today.
There's some top billboards, yeah. Lots of small, pithy businesses, which I didn't know exist. Now I do.
Was it just an advert for arms? I think it was just an advert for arms. And I didn't know whether that was meant armed conflict, which might have been apt, although a strange place to advertise. But I guess when the going's good, get your name out there, or just having arms. Isn't it nice to have arms? Don't take your arms for granted. I don't know.
It's a bit Sweet Caroline, isn't it? Really,
it is.
Is that those lyrics in Sweet Caroline kind of just talk about it's just kind of following? Was it touching arms, reaching out, touching hands,
reaching out,
touching you? It's a bit heads, shoulders, knees, and toes, isn't it? Really,
a little bit.
It's a bit like the story about what's the Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses.
Oh yeah.
With the middle area goes, where do we go now? Where do we go? Because they did that because they didn't know what to do at that point. So it's just
Probably wait 20 years and do a poorly received album called Chinese Democracy. Disappear off the face of the earth. I think, sometimes statistics, you sort of there's lies, damn lies, and statistics. I think it probably, if you want to know what sort of game was this? What sort of a Wednesday performance was this? And I think looking at that first half, 67% possession for Sheffield Wednesday. How many shots on target? 0. Nil.
Yep.
Terrible. 3 shots, 1 blocked, 2 off target.
Yep.
They had way more. They had 6 shots, 4 on target. I think they had 2 of them in the same move, to be fair. That Bailey Peacock Farrell kind of palming the ball straight out into the path of Verdane Oliver and sort of saying, go on, have another go. Hit me, I don't care.
The second half is disappointing. That's it for the first half.
Luke's pith and vinegar is
no pith and vinegar. That's about it, really. Okay.
Oh, there was the weird incident at the end. Sorry. We didn't have commentary. We were just sort of watching, making our own merriment. What was the weird thing that happened right at the end of the half? And there was kind of a drop ball, but there was a lot of moaning and arguing. Do you know what happened there?
I remember that happening a couple of times.
This is the poor refereeing, wasn't it? It's just poor game management.
Well, I remembered it in the second half for different reasons.
Yeah.
There was an experience in the second half, which I can come into.
Okay.
Not too far into the second half. I've got a quick thing to cover, and then So actually, the second half. So like the second half was weird. So like Wednesday players look like they're there, and then like they seem to say from the commentary, mentioned to you we had Graham Coughlin and
Mm.
whatever anonymous football heaven chap,
Mhm.
which was kind of entertaining. But the football heaven main commentator was being like, oh, um, Wednesday are out. Gillingham's still in. Neil Harris will be putting a rocket up them at half time. And I was like, why? Like I thought
Placing a rocket
Gillingham.
directly in their anal
I
passages.
thought like, I thought Gillingham were doing fine, so I don't know why. Anyway, they were delayed, or whether it's just maybe my comment is more stupid commentary. But anyway, like
Yeah,
yeah,
but you're
so
right. That's a weird comment because it was absolutely to plan.
yeah, they were
They
doing
just
well,
said,
and then
"Oh, we'll have the ball," and then when they got the ball, they got
mm,
up. They got up our end and caused us problems.
yeah, and it by George, it nearly worked for them,
Yeah,
including the
pretty
second half, the beginning of
perfect
it.
game plan, apart
So
from not scoring.
right from the off, I missed this because I was still getting ready. This was how great the game was, Rich. I did some laundry last night, and I brought the laundry basket into my bedroom, and I'm sure you do this. I'm sure lots of people do this, and then you look at it and you're like, nah, not tonight. Can't be asked. It's a Friday night. I've already done laundry. I've already done other things.
Yeah,
It's been a long week, whatever. So
on the
anyway,
ground,
but I was like,
having clean clothes.
I was just generally just like, I'm gonna sort all this out. So I pulled it all out, and then I got into folding t-shirts at half time,
Wow.
and I folded 60% of my t-shirts. I sound like John Richardson now. I folded off my t-shirt. All
I
that
have an
stuff.
inexplicably attractive wife.
I can't do that because he hates women. Um, anyway, big shout out to the free fold, the ABC method, folding t-shirts, top stuff. Big fan of
Do
that.
you
Got
have
it recently.
a thing?
Yeah, so
Do you
like
have
you,
the plastic
the
thing?
t-shirt is put out in front of you in a horizontal fashion,
Yeah.
and then you imagine like a line just between kind of the collar and the
Okay.
edge, and then it's like 3 points, so it's like at the top and that. So you grab that, grab the B, and then
This is
grab
so
the
good
A.
on the podcast, Luke.
And you roll it over, you do that, and then you just do. It's one of those things where you bring your arms back out again, and then you
There we
fold it
go.
over on itself.
Sounds marvelous.
It's great, and then I can put more t-shirts in my drawers instead of looking at other places to put t-shirts. So I was doing that. So anyway, so I
That
missed
was better than Gillingham versus Sheffield Wednesday Football
pretty
Club.
much, pretty much. So actually, I missed the chance. Though I got to watch the highlight back, and awful decision making from Hutch. I'm staggered we didn't concede. For Dan Oliver, formerly of Sheffield Wednesday's parish a long time ago,
Mm.
in on and didn't do very well. And BPF got there, and we managed to clear.
Okay.
Following that, we had a bit with Story, managed to kind of head the ball away, which looked with the depth like maybe it was getting close to the
Okay.
line. Not a good start to the second half at all. 50th minute, the ref blows up for two clash heads from Jill's players, breaking up on one of our only decent breaks.
Oh no.
The camera has turned away for decency, but they're apparently okay. They brought a stretcher coming out, and both players seem to be fine despite the head injury. The referee gives us a drop ball in our half.
Ridiculous.
Just crap refereeing.
Mm.
Oh, 56 minutes. Jackson fouls Johnson on the left. Not much comes from the free kick and we play it to Peacock foul again. I take it at this point like you didn't see much of the second half at all.
No, so I sort of experienced the second half like a kind of fever dream. Just little so it was just very, very hard to get connection on the stream, and so I'd get like 10 seconds, and then like 3 or 4 minutes of just being paused,
Much like a
and then
dream where you're like, I was at the bank, but it wasn't the bank, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
I
and then I
was
didn't have
watching Wednesday Gillingham, but I wasn't watching Wednesday Gillingham, if you know what I mean.
yeah. I saw one moment where weirdly it looked like Bailey Peacock Farrell had like a brain fart and just like rolled the ball to Dunkley when there was 3 or 4 Gillingham players very, very close to him.
I've forgotten that piece, I'll be honest.
But it might not have happened. As I say, this is like a fever dream. Who knows what I was seeing? I was seeing a stream from outer space. I was seeing the sliding doors of this stream where Bailey Peacock Farrell just rolled the ball out to Dunkley when he was so much cover.
Which is a shame because I feel like maybe you could have added a bit more to some of these
I'm
parts.
sorry,
I mean, there's some moments here, but anyway, I mean, but I don't know.
Not ideal from my side of things.
This is not the best episode of Different Gravy, and it's not the best last two games from Sheffield Wednesday to cover. So yeah.
It's the podcast after the Lord Mayor's podcast.
It's kind of the podcast equivalent of Soylent. Maybe.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get you some nutrition, folks. 58th minute. Bannon looped a good through ball, and Gregory just absolutely bluted the volley high and wide.
You've bluttered that. It's absolutely bluttered that.
59th minute. Great save by Peacock Farrell following a snapshot by O'Keefe. I'm going to ignore it and pretend it didn't happen.
Thank you. It's the best thing to do.
The 60th
when someone's having a funny turn.
Just pretend like Rich is having a stroke and ignore him. It's okay. Just does it. It's all he does for attention. That's all he does. Just lets half his face droop for attention. The 60th minute.
Sniffing toast, saying, "Can you smell toast?" No, because you're the one holding it to your nose, idiot.
So one thing you missed on the 60th minute, Rich, and you would have loved this, because who doesn't love this? Who loves Bannon putting a great ball in and Gregory doing that header thing where it looks like he's been shot?
Oh,
we got one of those. 60th minute, Rich. It's the international sub hour. Mendes Lang and Berahino come on for Hunt and Pato. Not too shabby for subs, I'm going to say. 63rd minute, actually, this was the point. I've actually made a point of making a note about this, Rich. Luke decides to finish off holding t-shirts at his start at half-time. 69th minute, we had some really good interchange in around the box, and Bannon did a very, very lovely but very soft kind of curl wide. You'll probably find when you watch the highlights.
I saw that one. That was one of my little fevered moments.
There's 3 occasions where Bannon tries to do that. Varying degrees of quality and decency. 72nd minute was one of these great ones. So Bannon, I said, wow, Bannon bringing a play shot out of nowhere. Keeper did well to tuck it wide. So this was one where he was just kind of bringing it in. And, I think the great thing about that situation was it was kind of difficult for the goalkeeper because he had defenders in his way. He didn't get a great insight. Yeah. And Bannon just very clearly just thought, I'm just going to just have a little go with this. And managed to get more power than the soft curl he had wide, but kind of like a low shot. And whoever the Gillingham keeper was did very well to put that wide from there. The 77th minute is, this concludes the trilogy of Bannon left-footed curled shots. Nearly Bannon did a very beautiful high kind of left curled effort, which was a great shot.
Is that the one that rattled the stanchion?
No, I don't think it was.
Okay.
But it was close, I would say. I must say.
I don't mean the stanchion. I mean like the support for the net behind. There was one.
If it was a support for the net, then yes, Rich, that's what it was.
Yeah. So I've seen 2 of the 3, which is good. I just on the highlights.
More rattling than our misogynist asses have had.
Saber rattling from Bannon. More saber rattling than Braveheart, if you ask me. But I suppose in a way, like just as a kind of layperson in terms of footballing tactics, surely I suppose long distance efforts are a way to counteract, if you've got the ability, is a way to counter the low block. Because if they're letting you play to the edge of their box,
it's time to step up and start having a dip at the coconut shy from 40 yards.
Yeah, in the hope that either you score from that, or you manage to create a rebound that lets one of your strikers in on it.
Yeah, or you get a teddy
well, that too
as well. I was really confused. 78th minute, Holly Dean came on for George Byers. So I think the mentality of that was to push Hutchinson up the field.
Midfield. Okay.
Wasn't too bad, I'm going to be honest. We didn't get any love on the wings this game at all.
Yeah.
Like, it's not been an area we managed to... It's an area we do very strong with, but we didn't really seem to get any joy from that.
Yeah, I thought that sort of first half, Hunt was really struggling down the right to get forward. So yeah, that continued in the second.
When you go and watch the highlights, Rich, there was 80th minute. It was a good cross by Mendes Lang, which had a flick on. We won a corner. Nothing came from that. 52nd minute, one of the best moments from a Wednesday attacking perspective, alongside those trilogy of Bannon's attempts from outside the box on his sweet love peg, was Gregory. Gregory did a lovely chest down, wonderfully in the box. And it's really difficult with the lighting. I couldn't really see exactly what happened. The commentary team seemed to think it hit the post. I think they're a bunch of liars. I don't think they were paying attention. It did not hit the post, but somehow it was managed to be cleared off the line.
I think, yeah, I'm looking. I think number 6 clears it off the line, and Berahino's very unlucky not to score there. He followed it in really well, to be fair to Berahino.
83rd minute, Berahino blitz on wide. My other notes basically are just really about time wasting and fouling to see out the rest of the game here. Gillingham doing some criminal time wasting. How unexpected from a Neil Harris side.
Yes.
How could we expect someone who played for Millwall Football Club?
Yeah, a man so synonymous.
To teach his players.
So synonymous in our mind
to be
with
a
Millwall.
Massive bunch of fasses.
Oh, yeah. And so 72% possession in that second half. A few more chances to show for it. Probably a bit of a better showing, I think, all round. But
I'll just finish off my notes, Rich. Hutchinson got a very soft yellow following a soft free kick. 90 plus 2. I wish you could have seen this. I was really annoyed that there was a lot of pushing of players that seemed to be completely agreed, including one I remembered actually where basically the ball kind of came out to the right. It was kind of like curving. Bannon was trying to kind of hold, instead of trying to kind of contest the ball, trying to hold and see what it would do when it kind of span out. And basically one of their defenders managed to push Bannon to hit Bannon and then go out for their throw-in. Right. And apparently that was fine. That was right in front of the linesman's face. What I really, really hated was a long ball to Bannon. He was about to run onto it, and he was shoulder barged massively off the ball, and that was right on the edge of the box. Maybe if we were in the Premier League and we had 40 billion cameras on it, it would have been a penalty, but it at least should have been a free kick, and nothing was happening on. 90 plus 4, Johnson's fouled really badly. A real nasty side, Gillingham. Yeah. And really depressing that Gillingham seemed to be... Depressing that they seem to just come and be very happy with a point in a pretty shitty kind of situation for themselves as they're battling for relegation. But then also the hilarity that maybe they probably had more chances to win this game than Sheffield Wednesday did.
Yeah.
Just bad. Just bad, just annoying, terrible, crap football from Wednesday, crap football from Gillingham, crap refereeing. Just crap all around.
Oh, yeah. I think that's the thing, isn't it? You don't want a team to you don't want a team like that to be rewarded ever, really. But in particular, you sort of feel like it's the referee's job to look after the creative players to an extent. Like Barry Bannon, the reason Barry Bannon, like if this was just purely about physicality and you could just be as big and as rough as you like, then Barry Bannon would never be a professional football player. Like surely part of the ref's job is to protect people like Barry Bannon and let the game flow.
You think?
Rubbish. So how quick? I know we're talking a week away from a 6-0 win, but I'm a bit worried about this midfield three, Luke. I feel like. Now, I'm conscious I'm saying this in light of not seeing the second half, but I feel like Byers has not quite been the same since he came back from his injury.
Maybe so. Maybe there's something to be said for that. I'm also wondering, like, I don't know. It seems like Luongo, the magic we had with Luongo doesn't seem to be working.
I think he's looking tired.
Yeah.
Because he's been asked to play all these games. That midfield three are the ones that are being asked to play all the games. Like everybody else getting chopped and changed, they're not.
Yeah.
And I think Luongo maybe is not used to playing this much football. And I thought Luongo, after a week off, looked tremendous in the 6-0 win. And then playing 3 times in a week looks pretty leggy. And I think we need his sort of driving runs and determination to kind of make this thing work as a midfield. Because I think we're a little bit easy to solve as is. But I don't know what the solution is, because we've only really got Deli Bashiru as a...
I know. And he's coming back, and we can't break him too much, you know?
Yeah. And then dropping Hutchin just feels... I know it's sort of like it's both times been kind of desperate stakes type of thing, but it just feels like such a regression to go back to Hutch in midfield. Anyway, yeah. So what do we make of that? What do we think? I mean, so it's a week. It's the Lord Mayor's show once again. After the Lord Mayor's show once again.
I thought it was interesting because midweek felt like a bit of a free hit because, it's funny. I'm top of my prediction league with my family, which is great. I might be getting a wee bit of silverware. I'm also hilariously doing quite well in my hockey fantasy league. I'm like 3rd, which is pretty insane. So, but anyway, like I talked with my eldest brother Andy about how we're doing that, and I've got games in hand because I've got postponed games that I've picked, and then they've not happened. Okay. And I think there's a mentality to look at those and they're postponed games. Like you hope you can get a point from, it's a different context, but maybe it weirdly feels like a bit of a dead rubber for Wednesday. Like, I know this. I know the players should be up for this. I know they should be excited. I know they should pull their finger out and go for 3 points.
Yeah.
But it just feels a bit too much for the players under this, with their mentality and under this management. So I can't believe we didn't win at least one of these games.
I know.
4 from 6 would seem is a hell of a lot better than 2 from 6.
Definitely.
Around us, Plymouth won midweek, who had a game to make up. Plymouth won again, but everyone else around us is drawn. So we're still a point off 6. But like, I don't know. I don't know who else is going to blink first. I think it's been a tough season for a number of reasons. It's been a tough season for Wednesdayites because I think we know this team can do better. I think on the day they're really, really good and they're possibly one of the best sides in this league. But I'm also wondering now, like, whether we just have to admit that maybe we're just not quite good enough in a league which there's a top 6 above us who don't seem to blink.
I know, but isn't the frustration of this season that actually we've done pretty well against teams in the middle?
Yeah.
Because they will play against us. We've done pretty well against teams at the top because they feel like they should be able to beat us. And we do really well when we're against teams that are attacking. But we've struggled more often than not against teams at the bottom who, as you say, are just completely like 0-0 is a great result for them. If they can go and grab a goal, more's the better, but they don't care really.
Yeah.
What they want to do is come, make things hard, keep a clean sheet, and stall, time waste, etc., etc., etc. And those are the teams we've struggled against. We're still a team that it's a red flag if we've got huge amounts of possession. It's bad news.
Yeah.
If I look at you can almost tell the result based on possession. If we've got less possession than the opposition, we've probably won the game. And if we've got 70% possession, I can almost guarantee we haven't won the game. I don't know what we do about that, but I suppose the benefit, if we can somehow squeeze our way into the playoffs, the hope is that we're against teams that do want to play with us, and therefore we can find those gaps and play our game. But who knows?
Yeah.
It's certainly not a given that we will be in the top 6.
But it's just felt so many times like we deserve to be in the top 6.
Oh, I know.
Form, but maybe it's just not meant to be. I don't know.
If we get a point or more out of that game in hand, we are in the top 6 again. We'll be 5th if we win it. We'll be 6th if we draw. So we're right there, but it's just, as you say, it's a bit tricky. I'm more worried about Wimbledon than I am about Cheltenham out of the next 2 games, because Cheltenham, I feel like, might have their flip-flops on already. Ready for the beach.
Ready for the beach.
But Wimbledon will be fighting for their lives.
Yeah. From a game like this where we've drawn, should we just maybe cap off with MOM, Mawam, man of the match?
Mawam. I think I managed to mute myself and unmute myself just as I coughed there, which was good.
Yeah, it was very, very awful.
Well, it's a bit tricky for me because having not watched the game, I can tell you who. Would you like to know who scored / Sofa Scores had as their man of the match?
Let me guess. Can I say who my man of the match is?
Please do.
It's Bannon.
Yeah, lovely.
Bannon
was second. Then.
Oh, interesting. Who's better than Bannon?
Bailey Peacock Farrell was apparently man of the match for them.
Bailey. Okay.
Bailey.
Okay. And then, I don't know, maybe the negative end of the spectrum. I don't know. I think we're lucky we didn't concede with Dunkley in the team today.
Yeah. Dunkley came away with a 7.5.
Wow.
He did win some, but it was not reassuring him having him back. Definitely not reassuring.
No.
I take the point that, these guys have got to get minutes and you've got to get them somewhere. But, I don't know. I am worried about Darren Moore having options. I'm worried about what wacky teams we'll start to see when he's got 5 or 6 choices at centre-back and 5 or 6 choices at up front. But who knows? Are we wrapping up, Luke?
I think we're wrapping up. I don't.
Wednesdairdle.
Should we leave Wednesdairdle to
a cliffhanger
next week? Cliffhanger.
Okay.
So remember, folks, Spur has a P and a U, not a yellow.
Good stuff. Okay, we'll leave Wednesdairdle to be continued. I definitely think it's up there with your best ideas yet, Luke.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
And I loved Nuns or Guns. I thought Nuns or Guns was good.
I know. Yeah.
But it's a real shame that Zuckerberg got in the way of allowing you to monetize it.
I mean, I love all my children, but some are better than others.
Oh, well, on that note, we will wrap up this weird and wonderful jaunt into the land of different gravy. Obviously, everything that's been said is parody, and
you mean we don't really hate women, even though I've said that numerous times.
No, sorry, everything apart from that is parody.
Everything apart from that, okay.
That's canon. No, we're just being silly boys.
Just being silly boys.
We're tired. We've been let down by Sheffield Wednesday this week. They got us all excited thinking we were the sort of team that could go out there, whack out our big choppers and beat people 6-0. And then actually it turned we're the sort of people that have shy bladders and need to wee in a cubicle rather than at the urinal. That's the sort of week we've had, penis-wise, as Sheffield Wednesday fans. And we've got a bit high jinks, haven't we? And we're going to wrap it up.
Okay.
We'll talk again after some more Sheffield Wednesday football. Hopefully, it's a bit more inspiring than this wet lettuce of a week we've had. But until then, look after yourself, Luke, and look after yourself, folks at home. And we'll speak again soon. Cheerio.
Thanks, Reg. See you, bro. Bye-bye.